I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker tonight. He is Mr. David Duerr, our board secretary. David's full-time job is serving as vice president for business development at Empower Federal Credit Union. Here at CCE Onondaga, David has served as our treasurer, our vice president, our president, and secretary. So David pulled off the hat trick +1. Good job. His enthusiasm for the CCE mission is infectious, and his expertise in business and finance and his leadership have made us a sound and healthy organization, and more importantly, has allowed us to diversify our programming as the needs of Onondaga County have changed. We really appreciate that, David. Both David and our board's treasurer, Alex Gorski, will be terming off the board this year after serving our association for 6 years, and we appreciate both their service. So here to offer his reflections on 6 years at CCE Onondaga is Mr. David Duerr.
Thanks, David. Yeah, so Alex and I started 6 years ago, and I want to congratulate Alex on her service to Cornell Cooperative Extension, and I'm sure she would agree with me. It does not seem like 6 years. It's been the blink of an eye. So when I was asked to kind of reflect on the last 6 years and maybe give you some of my thoughts, coming into Cornell Cooperative Extension of Onondaga County as a board member, my impression was based really on my firsthand experience from the community forestry program. It was the Labor Day storm of 1998, which many of us do remember. Hard to believe that was 22 years ago. And I was working with the Greater Syracuse Chamber of Commerce at the time. We were located right there at 572 South Salina Street, right across from where the bus station is now located. And we had lost a couple of our trees right on the sidewalk there. And not sure how I came to call Cornell Cooperative Extension, but Paul O'Connor, who was running that program at the time, did stop out. It was very interesting to see how, obviously, we're in a Northeast urban environment, and we have tremendous snow volume, especially in downtown Syracuse, which means we have a high concentration of salt due to that snow volume. And the trees that we had there at the time, locust trees, as I recall, they are called, Paul said they were well chosen for that environment. So we merely added a couple of more of those trees and kind of matched the Chimes building, which was our next door neighbor. And so that's how I got involved initially with Cornell Cooperative Extension. My history with CCE Onondaga and the scope of the educational program, they were very limited. Over my tenure on the board, we've witnessed CCE in Onondaga County, as was mentioned earlier in David's talking points. We've delivered over 60 different educational programs, as he had mentioned, in agriculture, natural resources, health and nutrition, and 4-H youth development. And 4-H to me is near and dear. I was not in 4-H. I was a Boy Scout in my youth and continue to serve on the Longhouse Council today. But my father, who grew up on a farm in Liverpool, was a 4-H member. And I have a sister whose club's name was the Chatterboxes. And she loved 4-H. And of course, we all know the 4-H pledge. My father was great at reciting this. So I thought I'd put it in my remarks tonight. And essentially, it's I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. And boy, when you stop and think about it, this is as relevant today as it was in 1927 is when it was adopted. And the motto for the 4-H, to make the best better, is very interesting to me because in the 80s, we were into the TQM movement. That's the total quality movement, where William Deming was involved in the late 50s with the Japanese right after World War II, and Tom Peters. They both coined the concept of continuous improvement. Well, I dare say with a 4-H motto of to make the best better, the 4-H was into continuous improvement long before William Deming and Tom Peters ever coined the concept. I think it's best to think of Cornell Cooperative Extension as a function of specialized education based on the needs of the county. We're not a one-trick pony. As the needs of the county shifts, so too does CCE programming. And one great example of this was mentioned earlier with the deer tick and the Lyme disease program. Early on, we were not doing any education in this area. And it was remarkable to me to see how nimble and agile our association was, bringing together scientists from Cornell University with communities and partners in Onondaga County. We went on to develop one of the most effective programs in the state of New York. We should appreciate the uniqueness of New York's extension system. Initially, there was one land-grant college per state, such as Cornell, MIT in Massachusetts, Penn State, Rutgers out of New Jersey, Ohio State, Texas A&M, just to name a few. The original purpose was for the benefit of agriculture and the mechanic arts. And this goes back to the Merrill Act back in the 1860s, right during the Civil War. So it's been 175 plus years. In all other states, extension work emanates from the land-grant university of that state, and all the educators are employed by that university. The boards in those counties are advisory boards. In New York, it is very different. CCE Onondaga has a fiduciary board and organization. We decide what best fits Onondaga County. Our staff works for a relatively small organization instead of a large university. This allows for passion and impact to flow and for relationships to flourish. It allows extension to do their best work. We've accomplished much over the last 6 years, including excellent and impactful programming, financial stability, a successful move to a more productive office location. I just love the fact that you can just drive up, park without paying, and walk in the building, and it just makes it easy in and out there. And I think we developed a great culture and camaraderie on our board of directors. I'm grateful for the support we've had from Onondaga County, from both the county executive office as well as the county ledge. I'm grateful for the partnerships with Cornell University, the Farm Bureau, Onondaga Soil and Water, WEP, Onondaga County School Districts, and our fellow Cornell Cooperative Extension Associations across the state. I'm grateful having the pleasure of working with so many passionate people on the board and on our staff, including Mickey, Hillary, Diana, and David, just to name a few. The future of Cornell Cooperative Extension of Onondaga County, in my mind, is bright, with a clear vision of developing an educational programming based on the needs of Onondaga County. Here's wishing you all the best and looking forward to our continued success. Thank you.